Ireland is one of the few places left in Western Europe where you can still buy a real country house with land for around $150,000. And by that I mean detached homes, sitting in green fields, on quiet roads, beside lake and countryside that looks exactly like the Ireland people fly across the world to photograph. This video covers 7 real properties across rural Ireland, from the west coast to the Midlands and the north, some needing renovation, some fully livable, all of them showing what this budget actually buys on the ground today. A couple of these homes feel genuinely underpriced for what they offer. First stop, County Leitrim, one of the most overlooked corners of Ireland, and a big part of why prices here still look the way they do. Coming in at €150,000, which works out to roughly $175,000, this first property delivers 3 bedrooms, 2 full acres, and a stream running directly through the grounds. Not a ditch, not a drainage channel, but a proper meandering stream that the listing calls a picturesque natural feature. Buying here means buying a small private piece of landscape, not just a house. Out front sits a detached garage, an open fuel shed, and a derelict stone farm outbuilding down in the field below the cottage, which the listing says could serve future use subject to planning permission. The interior needs refurbishment throughout, and that's worth saying plainly because honesty is the whole point of this series. An open fireplace anchors the sitting room. 2 of the 3 bedrooms carry their own fireplaces. The kitchen arrives, fitted with tiled flooring and oil-fired central heating, along with double-glazed PVC windows are already in place. The bones hold. The structure has been standing and continues to stand. What this property offers at €150,000 is a 2-acre site with a stream in the Irish countryside, and that stone outbuilding alone, given the right planning outcome, could become guest accommodation, a studio, or a workshop. At the absolute floor of this list, you already have more raw land than most properties at twice the price. Moving up $30,000 lands you at €175,000, roughly $205,000, and the setting stays almost identical. Still Leitrim countryside, still just a few kilometers from Dromahair and Ballintoggher. 3 bedrooms, 2 acres, a meandering stream through the grounds, a detached garage, the open fuel shed, the derelict stone outbuilding, and a condition described as requiring refurbishment throughout. Room measurements across both listings sit nearly identical. The honest read on that price gap is that the listings alone don't explain it, and that's not hedging. That's the kind of thing a knowledgeable friend tells you before you sign anything. Gaps like this between near identical properties in the same region usually trace back to something the listing doesn't mention: planning history, access rights, ground conditions, which direction the stream flows relative to the house. Those answers come from a local agent who knows the land registry and the roads. What remains true for both properties is that 2 acres with a stream in one of the quietest, most naturally beautiful corners of Ireland represents something genuinely hard to find at any price globally. Leitrim means lakes, river valleys, walking trails, and a kind of silence that has grown rare enough to carry real value. Heading west into Mayo, the character shifts entirely, and so does the elevation. County Mayo is where the west of Ireland stops being gentle and turns dramatic. A wide open county of bog, mountain, and coastline, pressing hard into the Atlantis, the kind of place that gets into people and stays there. Property 3 arrives at €180,000, $211,000 just outside Ballyhonus, and it brings something the first 2 listings couldn't offer: a view, a real, elevated site looking out over rolling hills view. 3 bedrooms, 0.72 acres, smaller than the Leitrim parcels, but positioned on a rise the listing describes as enjoying breathtaking panoramic views over the surrounding countryside. Elevation changes a property in ways that square footage cannot, shifting the light inside, altering how the garden reads, determining what appears in the kitchen window every morning. The listing describes a welcoming kitchen, a utility room, and a bright living room filled with natural light, which on a raised Mayo site is very easy to believe, along with 3 bedrooms and a family bathroom, PVC double-glazed windows, and oil-fired central heating. No red flag renovation language appears anywhere in the listing, and the description reads considerably further along the livable spectrum than properties 1 and 2. The location adds another layer: 2 miles from Ballyhonus, 4 miles from Knock, and Knock has its own international airport serving UK and European routes, not a regional strip, but a proper facility. For anyone splitting time between Ireland and another country, that proximity to air travel carries genuine weight. The view is the headline, and the airport is the detail that changes the calculation entirely. Donegal sits at the most northwesterly point of the entire island of Ireland, and its coastline stops people mid-sentence the first time they encounter it. wild Atlantic cliffs, hidden inlets, beaches that belong in a nature documentary, and two distinct personalities packed into one county, the rugged, Irish-speaking Northwest and the softer, loft-lined East. Stubbornly underpriced relative to the visual drama on offer, Donegal sets the stage for Property 4, €190,000, around $222,000, located in Carrigan's, County Donegal, and what that money delivers is 5 bedrooms across 113 square meters, roughly 1,216 square feet, on 0.6 acres of mature gardens with a detached outbuilding to the rear and views from the property over Lough Foyle toward County Derry on the far shore. You are looking at water from your own garden. Originally dating to 1925, the house has been extended and modernized thoughtfully over the decades, with a full re-roof and complete redecoration, finished in approximately 2023, which is a meaningful and recent commitment to the property. Ground floor features include a living room with a cast iron fireplace and marble surround, a kitchen and dining area anchored by a Stanley range, which heats both the rooms and the hot water simultaneously, and tends to be the kind of detail people back home struggle to believe, along with a ground floor bedroom and a family bathroom. Upstairs, 4 more bedrooms spread across the floor, including a main bedroom with its own ensuite. Oil-fired central heating backs up the Stanley range, double-glazed windows run throughout, and the gardens arrive mature, described as beautifully maintained and accessed through cast-iron gates on a stone-chipped driveway. None of that required saving. No rescue project, no gut renovation. Just a lived-in, recently improved family house with water views and half an acre in Donegal. And the listing notes it may qualify for the vacant property refurbishment grant if a buyer wants to take it further. 5 bedrooms, Lough Foyle views, mature gardens, and recent upgrades at $222,000. The leader just changed. Back to Mayo for Property 5, priced at €199,000, $233,000, and sitting in Clunmore, Ballindine, a 4-bedroom detached dormer bungalow on 0.32 acres with a large, concrete-built detached garage. Ballindine occupies the quieter, more agricultural southern half of Mayo, practical and well-connected without the drama of the county's most remote edges. The listing states plainly that the property has been vacant for a number of years and requires internal renovation throughout, and that's worth saying directly rather than softening. None of this is move-in territory right now. What earns it a place on this list is its eligibility for Ireland's Vacant Property Refurbishment Grant, a government scheme designed specifically for buyers who take on properties like this one and bring them back into use, with financial support built into the process from the start. The structure itself carries a living room, sitting room, kitchen, utility room, 4 bedrooms, and 2 bathrooms, with open fireplaces in both reception rooms, timber flooring already laid in the bedrooms, timber double-glazed windows and doors in place, and oil-fired central heating throughout. Outside, front and rear gardens frame the property. A tarmac driveway leads in, and that concrete garage stands as a real usable structure rather than a crumbling outbuilding. 2 kilometers from Ballindine and 10 from Claremorris, the location sits well within reach of the broader Mayo Road network. This one belongs to the buyer who has completed a project before, or who has trades available, or who has run the numbers on the grant scheme and understood that a finished 4-bedroom dormer bungalow with a garage in rural Mayo, brought to completion on their own terms, arrives well below the cost of buying an equivalent property already done. Vision and patience are the entry requirements, but for the right buyer, the bones and the grant eligibility make this a serious option. County Roscommon rarely draws attention, and that's precisely why it belongs on this list. Low drumlin hills, lake-studded bogland, market towns running on a slower clock. Roscommon delivers some of the most authentic, unhurried Irish countryside living on the island, and the prices haven't caught up with the quality of life yet. Property 6 sits in Ballygattereen, County Roscommon, priced at €199,000, the exact same figure as the Mayo dormer, and that's where the comparison ends. Built circa 1903 and once owned by the local schoolmaster, this is a period home the listing describes as extensively renovated and carefully maintained, while retaining its original character and features throughout. That detail about the schoolmaster sounds like a footnote, but it tells you something about the quality of the original construction. These were houses built to hold. Original stone flag flooring still lines the entrance hall after 120 years, and that single detail says more about the build quality than any listing description could. Ground floor rooms include that flagstone entrance hall, a sitting room with a stone feature wall and open fireplace, a fully fitted and tiled kitchen and dining area with adjoining storage, a bathroom with a separate shower unit, and a second living room carrying another stone feature wall, another fireplace, and a solid fuel stove with back boiler running heat through the system. Upstairs, 3 double bedrooms and a fully tiled shower room with timber flooring and ceiling detail complete the layout. Original wall paneling, timber floors, and those stone flags appear throughout the house, with oil-fired central heating, complemented by the solid fuel stove as a secondary system. Outside, a spacious side garden and 2 useful sheds sit to the rear. Loafgora lies close by for fishing, and Ballaghaderreen town covers everything else within easy reach. At the identical price to the renovation project in Mayo, this property arrives already done, already livable, already carrying 120 years of quiet Irish countryside history in its walls. Someone has already loved it back to life, and now it's waiting for whoever comes next. For the buyer who wants character without the construction phase, this is the quiet favorite of the video, but the strongest property on this list comes last. Property 7 lands in County Limerick at €200,000, $234,000, and Limerick deserves a moment before we get into the specifics. Ireland's 3rd largest city county has shifted considerably over the last decade, and the countryside fanning out to the south and east carries rolling Golden Vale farmland, quiet village roads, and a connection to real urban infrastructure that most rural Irish counties simply cannot offer. That combination is rare, and it shows up in the property. Castletown Village, Kilmallock, 0.7 acres, countryside views, and a 4-bedroom detached bungalow built in 1983 across approximately 119 square meters, roughly 1,281 square feet. What separates this one from every other property on this list is the language the listing uses, because listing language tells you things when you learn to read it. Recently redecorated, newly installed combi boiler in 2024, recent insulation upgrades. None of that describes a property someone walked away from. It describes a property someone kept improving right up until the day it went on the market, and that's a meaningful distinction. Step through the tiled entrance hallway, and the sitting room opens up with modern tones, plush carpet, an open fireplace with electric insert, and French doors connecting through to the dining room. The kitchen carries built-in units, tiled floor and splashback, a solid fuel cassette stove, a gas hob, an electric double oven, and plumbing for appliances, which adds up to a fully functioning family kitchen rather than a cosmetic showpiece. All 3 secondary bedrooms arrive with timber flooring and built-in wardrobes. The master bedroom holds a fully tiled ensuite, and the main bathroom presents as a modern wet room with electric shower and full tiling throughout. A rear hallway utility space rounds out the interior. Outside, 2 walled entrances come off the road onto a large driveway with serious off-street parking capacity. Mature lawns run front and rear. A raised rear patio looks out over the countryside, and a large disused workshop and lean-to the side carries real potential for restoration or storage across 0.7 acres of space, 34 kilometers from Limerick City along the N20, a proper road rather than a scenic route. A new boiler installed in 2024, recent insulation, and a wet room bathroom. This is the one property on the entire list where a family books a removal truck, brings the furniture in, puts the kettle on, and has the fire going by evening. $234,000 in Western Europe in a Limerick village on nearly 3/4 of an acre with a heating system newer than most people's phones. That outcome speaks for itself. 7 properties, 7 different answers to the same question of what Irish countryside money actually buys right now. For water views and genuine family-scale space, the Donegal 5-bedroom overlooking loft foil stands on its own, with the bedroom count alone making the price hard to dispute. For the best raw land play at the lowest entry point, the Leitrim Stream Cottage at €150,000 makes its case clearly, provided renovation and the potential of that stone outbuilding align with your plans. For character and history without a construction phase, the 1903 period home in Roscommon arrives already renovated, carrying 120 years of quiet Irish countryside in its walls and fireplaces in nearly every room. For the most ready, most family-friendly option on the list, the Limerick bungalow in Kilmallock closes the argument. 0.7 acres, new boiler, wet room, French doors, raised patio, and a countryside view from the back garden. Drop your pick in the comments below, and if you want more of this, more regions, more countries, more finds at prices that feel unlikely until you check the listings yourself, subscribe now, because the next video is already in progress and the prices only get more interesting from here.